The whole coronavirus stuff has been going crazy. They're shutting down bars and restaurants all over the place across the country.
For the day I break these chains, I'm bound for the life of the simple things.
2020 is turning out to be one crazy year, isn't it? So this whole coronavirus thing has really been wild. I left out of San Diego. I just got done filling up here. I'm about ready to leave out of San Diego. I'm headed all the way out to Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm gonna make a little stop about a business opportunity when I get into Phoenix. I just think it's wild. I mean, people were wearing masks and everything else. This was even before there was all that many cases that had like really hit home about it. And then I got to talking to somebody and about coming out and being with them out in Ohio. I have somebody I'm going to be introducing you guys to in Cincinnati. It's kind of a big deal. Hit the road and kind of doing a haul and tail to get over there. At first I was just going to do, you know, a reasonable pace, you know, 300, 400, 500 miles, somewhere in there per day on my way out. And then things just kind of started getting weird. You know, there's rumors about state borders closing and all kinds of stuff like that. I'm getting out of here, out of Arizona. I was coming here to talk a little business on my way, but just, you know, I figure if I'm gonna make it out to Ohio and everything, I need to get a hump and, you know, get those miles in and get across there before they start deciding to close interstate travel. So yeah, we're gonna be rolling out across the country, wheeling away while all this coronavirus stuff is going on. So I got to try to plan to keep myself square. I got a bunch of, you know, sanitizing wipes and stuff like that, some gloves just in case when I'm different spots, and wash up a lot, you know. I got a bunch of water to get across and some food just in case I don't have a place to stop along the way if things get hairy. Just climbed about 7,000 feet and rolling into Flagstaff now. I really like Flagstaff. I spent a couple of months almost in Flagstaff about 3 years ago, from pretty much early June into August, I would say it was, almost August, so not quite 2 months. And the temperature swings are quite wild at this elevation. I had a middle of June night that got down to around 18 and I wasn't ready for it.
It's downright cold. I couldn't sleep any longer. It woke me up, and I got to get myself a good sleeping bag. You know, the cold nights that can come on a storm here in Flagstaff is a little too much for me. I don't have a lot of warm stuff, so that was uncomfortable. I woke up with a good cough, and I was just too cold, so I took off and went into town. I'm early now in town here. I'm gonna get some gas. Now that it's kind of warmed up, I feel a lot better. But I woke up, I was pretty cold. I'm not gonna do that again. I'm gonna go and splurge on a sleeping bag. Should have had one already.
It made me learn really quick that you got to have proper preparation for cold weather anytime. I just didn't have the gear. I had a blanket and some clothes, but I didn't have real warm coat, and I didn't have a proper sleeping bag, you know, something that gets down to around 20 or 0 degree sleeping bag. Look it up there on the horizon. We got some snow-capped mountains here. It's been a little while since I've seen some snow-capped mountains. Last time I saw anything like that was when I was in Sequoia National Park, just before I settled in and started working in San Diego. So yesterday and today I'm really kind of pushing it. I put on over 700 miles yesterday, 708 I think it was. And today I'm already in the 400 range and still got a few hours to go, you know, before sunset. It's just kind of eerie. Just did a fuel up. It's a good thing I had my own TP, because there's actually an attendant, a gas station attendant here in Flagstaff, that's just standing right in front of the door of the men's room saying you have to have your own TP to use the bathroom. And there isn't any paper towels, so after I got done washing my hands, still wet. So it's a bizarre world we're living in right now. Yesterday the freeways were really bare. Today they're not as bare. It doesn't feel ghost townish, but it still seems like midday. This is probably pretty light for a major freeway like 44. A lot more cars than I saw yesterday, so that's a little bit better. It was just pretty much only trucks yesterday. Weird stuff. Kind of makes you feel uncomfortable. Then last night I heard that a couple of states, including Indiana, which I'm going to be going into here pretty soon, went ahead and activated the National Guard. So it makes me feel like they're preparing to close borders. They're having a lot more talk about closing down these states, and they're starting to close some of the rest stops and stuff in like Pennsylvania. So I hope that doesn't spread across the country while I'm trying to make this journey. Nice, $1.84 gas here in Texas. Gotta love filling up like that. Kind of missed the fuel prices. It was almost $4 still in California. Even though we had the battle between Russia and Iran, you know, dropping the oil prices and everything, the gasoline prices in California were still nuts. I'm so glad to be out of that state. Another thing is I just heard today they're starting to lock down the state, and the governor in California is starting to say that he wants to enforce martial law. I'm so glad I got out of there. I made a great decision. The rain has welcomed me to Oklahoma. So it should be getting pretty close to Oklahoma City now. I would say, you know, 180 miles or less. Could really use a shower though. One of the truck stops I was at had all the showers were closed yesterday. Like, I didn't expect that. I know the gyms, a lot of the gyms around in different states. I probably should have stopped in Oklahoma, because Oklahoma looked like the gyms were still open from the map. But a bunch of the states are closing the gyms and everything. That's kind of how I get my showers in. I have a propane tank, like an instant hot water propane tank that I used when I was out in the free campsites, but my shower cabana finally gave up the ghost. I had that for like 5 years and it rotted out on me, so it ended up being not worth anything. Wow, crazy stuff. There's crazy times we're living in. The truck stops seem pretty busy still, because that's where I crashed at truck stops the last couple of nights, just so I could like get my gas and rock, you know. I spoke to a friend that actually works for the CDC. They're not like way up the ladder or anything, but they do work for the CDC, and primarily they're like working with the modeling. And they told me that the CDC is expecting, before they have a vaccine ready for humans, that there'll probably be about 96 million infections and about 483,000 deaths worldwide is what I was told. So it's a pretty serious, significant case, you know. Apparently men are far more likely to come down sick as well. So, well, I ended up making it over here to Cincinnati before the National Guard started being deployed everywhere. I just saw on the internet here a little bit ago an article about the National Guard being activated and everything. So right now I'm heading to go and see about getting some work here in Cincinnati. So I'm job hunting, power job hunting. I don't really have any contacts to speak of here in Cincinnati, so it's gonna be pretty much doing it by hitting the pavement and just you know, going after it and talking to people to see who's hiring. Well guys, I was able to land a job, as you can see here. They went ahead and hooked me up with it. It's 14 bucks an hour. I'm gonna be waxing some floors with like power equipment. That could be fun, stripping and waxing floors, as long as you're not having to do it with a mop. I did that when I was in college. It's raining on my parade out here in Cincinnati today, but we have good news. The antivirals, both the protease inhibitors and an old malaria drug, has been helping out with the coronavirus. So it's looking really good, guys. Who knows, maybe here in a few weeks we won't have to avoid each other anymore, you know? I'd sure like that. Get out there, connect with people, live your big story, and make sure you do something every single day to reduce world suck. Peace, guys.